Fortunately. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody had a fantastic Easter. I hope your day was great. Also, I hope you guys had a good weekend. But I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see, Nostradamus is here. Kathy's in the house. Always early. Sonia, JJ's here. Jennifer's in the house. Nettie Prepper, Juby Joe. We got Winter Homestead. Janet is here. So good to see everybody. Glad to have you here. I'm sweating. I just got to warn you ahead of time. I'm sweating right now. I got to turn my fan on. It's getting to that point of the year. It was warmer. It was so weird. The weather was so weird down here today. We started out, it was raining through the night, and then it was raining this morning. I mean, it was really coming down this morning. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And then the sun came out, and it was overcast for a little while. And then the sun came out later this afternoon, and it warmed everything up. And the camper does get warm. So, but it was a nice. It turned out to be a nice day, but just weird weather. Ah, so all right. So before we jump into anything, I'm gonna address the normal stuff first, and then I got one thing I gotta say. So first of all, well, actually, I'll two things. I wanted to just share. A lot of times, it's easier to share it here than to share it in the comments. But so first of all, please remember this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches are going to boot you out of here. So just putting that out there ahead of time, and we'll go from there. Okay, so just getting that out of the way. So I got to address this because this drives me absolutely crazy. The spelling Nazis on my channel. Okay, now I realize there's three different theirs, right? There, and there. Okay. Guess what? I honestly don't care. If I put any one of those three theirs in a title of a video, you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. I never paid attention enough in school to give a crap which there it was. So for all you spelling Nazis out there, um, there you go. I'm just like, oh my god, drives me crazy. I'm like, really? So there's been a couple that have been on there, and I always use the same one, and I don't care. And I replied, I don't care. And then they came up with some other reply to that, which was fine. I was like, whatever. Who cares? You know what? I have never said, not one time. And I love when people equate this with intelligence, just so you know, too. I always find it very fascinating. I never applied myself in school. Okay. I will be 100% honest with you. I graduated near the bottom of my class because I wouldn't do the work. I wouldn't do homework. I had a girl that sat in front of me in one class, and she would let me copy when we would do a spelling test. She would let me copy all the things off of hers because I just didn't give a crap. I have gotten better, believe it or not, and I still suck at spelling. So, but again, and then when people think, oh, well, because you can't spell great, you're stupid. Oh, okay, great, that's awesome. I excelled at spelling, but it doesn't bother me if things are misspelled. There was no right way to spell it until Webster's dictionary. Well, exactly. And like I said, if you ever saw my handwriting, you'd be like, oh my god, what is this? But yeah, blame the keyboard board for misspelled. It's just, why is that the focal point of anything that I'm trying to talk about? Is they give a crap about the spelling? Okay, so then the other thing, talking about the road, and we've been working on the road, guys. The driveway in for the last couple of years. Okay, it's from this year compared to last year, night and day. From the year before to the year before, night and day. It's a work in progress. It's like I said, it's going to be. We're getting ahead of it, I believe, and so that makes a difference. And but I was a school nurse for 25 years and I'm a substitute teacher. I can't spell either. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Rhonda. I appreciate that. Well, I'm a nurse and we had to write nursing notes all the time. So, I used to, yeah, it was bad. But anyway, and then the computers came out and then you had to do it that way, which just made it suck that much more. But anyway, somebody had said, "Oh well, the road's getting tear up because of people flying down through there." I can guarantee you, I probably drive down my driveway faster than anybody else, and I don't drive through my driveway fast. You can't. There's just no way you can drive through my driveway fast. It just can't be done. I mean, it's like no. So I did reply to the person. I said nobody's ripping down through there. I guarantee it. There's it's just too rough to be unless you want to tear up your vehicle completely. So, but we are in on that road, much better percent. Like the guy, I'll give you an example of something. So when Rob's building, we had Rob's building, Mark's, no, I'm sorry, Rob's building, Bud's building, and then after he brought in a different guy brought in the Wolf Slayer. He brought that in first. Then the guy brought in Rob's building, and he was the guy that had originally. What did he originally bring in here? I'm trying to remember what he brought in here. Oh, he brought in the Big Blue House, Eric's Big Blue House. He was the one that originally brought that one in there, and he was like, this road is horrible, blah blah blah. So when he came and brought Rob's building in, he was like, "Oh yeah, this road," he said, "is 1,000% better than it was." So he could see the difference, and it still needed obviously more work even at that point, but it was in much better condition. And that's when he said, "We can get a 12-foot wide building in here," and that's when Dave ordered his building, 12 by 32. So we got that one in here with no problem at all. So it's just if the road was still in that bad a shape, it wouldn't be able to get done. So that was one of the other things with that. So, but yeah, so that was pretty interesting. I thought it was like, no, nobody's flying down through my road. Like I said, you just can't. There's no way you can do it. So nobody's tearing it up and spinning stuff out and all that type of stuff. It's just not happening. But again, just sharing that because it's like I see different things come up and people will ask different questions and I'm like going, and when the person was saying that, I'm like, they have no idea. Anybody of my group members that are in a chat can tell you that exactly as well. That road is not a road that you go flying down. So, but and I'm going to tell you what, even when we get it completely squared away, it will not be a road that you're going to go flying down. You're just not going to be able to do it. So, all right. So, what do we got? 349 in the chat already. We're at 112 on the thumbs up. So, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I would ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. And I thank you ahead of time for that. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. I thank you for that reason as well. And I do appreciate that. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. Real quick, if you're not getting notifications, please check to see if they've unsubscribed you. I've had a lot of people lately telling me, I've been on your channel forever and a day, and I wasn't getting notifications, and I looked, and sure enough, I was unsubscribed. So it's happening quite a bit too. And like I said, it's not just me. It's happened to a lot of YouTubers. So I would just ask you to pay attention. If all of a sudden you're not getting notifications, check your status and see if you are still subscribed, and those type of things, because they will either change it where you're not getting all notifications to partial. It's just, I don't know why I kind of do know why they do it, but they do. It's a game that gets played by YouTube. So it's what we have to deal with. So I just try to remind everybody about that. Okay. All right. So let's get into the topic, right? There has been a lot of talk. You saw what happened with ISIS over in Russia. They attacked that theater. There was 4 of them. They kill 130 people and wounded a whole bunch more. They have been captured, and they definitely took responsibility for that. And so there had been chatter that that was going to happen, and so they, I uh, apparently our intel, our agencies, our alphabet agencies here, warned Russia ahead of time, and let them know that there was a good chance that they would be attacked and blah blah blah. So they were talking to different people in the United States in positions of power, and the timing is interesting. I just think of when I talk about this, think about the timing of this. Okay, so they were saying in this that the most likely that we will see attacks with inside the United States, most likely in the fall. Hmm, in the fall. I wonder what's going to be happening this year in the fall. We have something going on, right, this year. Oh, that's right. It's a little thing called the election. But they're saying that there's a very large likelihood that we could be attacked with inside the country this fall. So, they were information is being talked about, put out there. The people need to be aware of that. So basically, what can we do, right? I mean, how do we? Hey, did you see where another barge hit a bridge in Oklahoma? I did see that, Mary. Well, what you got to understand, okay, so when it comes to these bridges, again, this goes. We'll talk about this real quick, and then we'll go back into the other subject. This goes into the whole thing of strengthening our infrastructure. Okay. Part of strengthening our infrastructure is they have the stuff that they can put around these bridges, like bumpers. It's not a bumper, like bumper cars. Like if something gets hit, it bounces off, and bridges get hit all the time. Bridges don't fall down all the time. I don't know if you guys saw this, and I talked about a little bit because I didn't know what the number was. Now I do know what the number was. So I talked about my 20-foot long shipping container. And I said, these ships, they have 40-foot long shipping containers on them. And I go, and there's hundreds of them. Well, I was wrong in that number. You know how many shipping containers were on this particular ship? 4,700. And I want you to think about that. The weight of it, number one, okay? And, you know, how big that's got to be, how big that ship's got to be able to hold 4,700 of those shipping containers. And I'm sure, they're if they're bringing stuff in, they're all full of whatever, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's craziness with that. There's a tremendous amount of cargo on that ship, but they have ways that they can protect the access points of bridges and stuff like that. And if they did it in the long run, it's going to be cheaper than what it's going to be to repair the entire bridge, obviously. And right now they're in the process. The ship is still sitting there. It's still grounded. The 22 crew members, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, the 22 crew members that were on that ship are still on that ship. They're not off that ship. So who knows, how long they're going to be stuck there as well. But they're, trying to get the different cranes in to get the bridge out of the water and all those type of things. I mean, you think about those type of structures, but Ed, they said the insurance losses might be $2 to $4 billion. That, you know what, neighbor Bob, that doesn't surprise me when you look at any of the bridges that we have in this country and the amount of traffic that goes and utilizes those bridges on a daily basis, with the trucks, just the trucks rolling, right? Hey, Philip, good evening. Glad you're joining us. Just with the trucks rolling, you know, uh, how many trucks are on any time of day, guys, day or night? You will see trucks on the highway all the time. Okay, all the time, and it with having to rebuild that bridge. I hate to think what that's going to cost. That bridge was built back in 1977, so it's very, that's going to take them a while to get that squared away and figured out and build a new one and get it up and functional. So in the meantime, you're having to reroute all that, traffic. And how are you doing that? Hopefully they have more than one way, to utilize that. And, but who knows? I mean, they're not building a bunch of bridges. If they get one built, they go, okay, yeah, we're good. So I don't know, as far as that goes, what the numbers are and all that type of stuff. I see we're up to 488 in the chat, guys. I see we're only at 171 on the thumbs up. So again, real quick, I'm going to ask you pop a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. I do appreciate that. The ship is over underground deep gas line. Oh, okay. That I did not know, Juby Joe. I didn't know that either. Thank you for sharing that. But again, it really does make a huge difference with the algorithm. So I do appreciate that as well. Baltimore has already been approved for 60 million for the bridge. Oh, I have. Okay. Well, they got it. I mean, how long is that going to take them to build that, though? That's not something that happens overnight. I mean, that's going to be something that's going to take some time. But anyway, going back to, but it's they could harden those bridges and make them so that if they get hit, they're not going to collapse all these bridges. But again, that takes money, and they don't want to put that out. They would rather, let's see, they would rather spend billions on illegal immigrants. You look at New York State. I wonder, how much infrastructure. Just a thought in my head. How much infrastructure New York State could do with $2.4 billion that they're using to allocate towards taking care of illegal immigrants. That's a thought, right? That'd be a lot of money to help waterways, bridges, all those type of things, roadways. Unbelievable. Just the amount of money that's being pissed away. Okay, and but yeah, it's just the Empire State Building was built in a year and 45 days. They want to drag this bridge out. Oh, it'll take a while. Yeah, it'll definitely take a while. I mean, again, because now they have, I'm sure things are different than they were in 77. The standards of putting in new bridges is probably much more rigid now. So there's a lot more safety stuff that they would have to do to make sure that it's safe. So, there's always that, and everything that goes along with it. So, but again, if they wanted to put the money into the country and do that, I think that's what they should be doing. We've talked about that many, many times, that we need to harden our infrastructure because we definitely have an issue with that. So, but let's get back to the whole ISIS thing. Okay. We've talked in previous live streams, guys, about sleeper cells in this country. I truly believe that we have sleeper cells already here, waiting on orders, waiting to be told what to do and when to do it. They already have targets in mind. Okay. They're just waiting for the right opportunity to do what they want to do. So, that's not anything that anybody doesn't know. You got to understand it. It's not, and I want you to realize this too. Okay. It's not just ISIS that has bad intentions for America. All right. We have groups within inside the United States as well that want to see complete and total upheaval, anarchy, if you will, in this country, because they're preparing for that. They're getting ready for that. Now, I will use the word, and some of you may like, what? White supremacist groups, there are those out there that have those intentions. Okay. Shockingly enough, there's also groups that are black militant groups. I'm not going to say it's the Black Panthers, but the Black Panthers have their own agenda. I don't know if you guys saw that one group that was marching down in Georgia a few years ago, and they were all like in black and all loaded up with weapons and and one of them shot themselves. If you guys remember that's a good look, right? That just goes out. They're ready. They're ready, boy. They're so ready, they're shooting themselves. But but there's a lot of people out there, and it's not limited to just all these crazy Muslims from the Middle East. It's not just them. There's a lot of people that would like to see the destruction of America because they think it would be to their advantage or whatever the case may be. So we definitely need to be paying attention. When the government starts to tell you, and here's where my concern is, when the government starts to tell you there's a possibility of some kind of attack inside the United States, most likely coming in the fall. Well, why would they wait for the fall, right? we talked about timing with things before. What would be the best time to cause the most havoc in this country? Causing the most damage, causing the most loss of life. And how many sleeper cells do you think slip through the open border? Well, when they talk about gotaways, healthier health, this is a good question. When they talk about gotaways, and they believe the number is upwards to 680,000. And I want you to think about that number, right? 680,000. So if I'm an organized group and I'm looking to do a distraction and get the Border Patrol all jacked up, catching these illegal immigrants, right, coming through, but I have a game plan. And so we wait till they're distracted and busy with all this crowd of, 100 or 200, all of them coming over at the same time, and they're busy processing them. And then me and my group of organized, squared away, heavily armed people slide right in. And maybe we already have people here in the United States, because that would be the smart way to do it, to pick you up, transport you to where safe houses would be. If you don't think that there's safe houses out there all over the place, you got to be delusional not to think that they're not out there, because they are, and these people are plotting and they're getting ready. I will tell you this, and I also believe this with all my heart, and just putting this out here. I believe that our government agencies are trying to stop a lot of these attacks, and I think that a lot of attacks are stopped and we're never told about them, because they never want us to be afraid. They never want us to realize how close we came to being attacked for whatever reason. But I think that these people, and again, people, for whatever reason, I don't know why people think this. These people are not stupid. They're not stupid people. In every walk of life, there's very smart people, and then there's stupid people. You have your people that are your that are going to be your soldiers, that are going to be the ones that you're going to send out to do whatever missions, and they're devoted to the cause. You know what I mean? For that type of thing. But well, why would they just let these people in? You know what? That's a great question, Don, and I don't have the answer for you. I really don't. Don't have the answer for you. There is, you know, well, the only thing that I can think of, honestly, to be honest with you, and it's kind of one of the scenarios that I've had in my head, which is a realistic scenario. All right, if we had, and I've talked about this, guy, so this isn't like a shock to anybody. If we had a coordinated attack on our power grid, and I mean a really coordinated attack, different parts of the country simultaneously bringing the entire grid down, right? Bringing the entire grid down. Uh, you would have, what would happen after that? At first, people would, like I said, again, they'll sit around waiting. Well, things are going to get better and things are going to be great and we're going to be okay and the lights are going to come back on. And then after the lights don't come back on, then you're going to see panic and chaos and everything else, because especially, I mean, let's count the ways, right? Meds are running out. We're the most heavily medicated country in the world, folks. Most people only have a 30 supply or day supply of their meds. And so if you just happen to be at the end of your cycle of your meds and we're getting ready to renew your meds, well, if there's no power, you're not getting your meds. Nothing's getting delivered. No food is getting delivered. So once grocery stores are cleaned out, there's not going to be any more food coming in there. The gas is not going to be coming in. So any gas stations would be out without power very, very quickly. Having something happen closer to winter would be, yes, and Peter just put that out there, and I've talked about that before. The ideal time to attack in this country would be December, in my opinion, because now you're looking at a grid down situation. You'd have thousands upon thousands of people would freeze to death in their own homes because they don't have any way to heat themselves. One good snowstorm and everybody's locked in, and there's no plows running because there's no gas. There's no emergency vehicles running because there's no gas. They don't have the electronics to take care of what they need to take care of. That grid goes down, nobody can move. Now you're stuck in your house and you're going to have what you have. And that's something I really want people to think about. If that type of an emergency happens, you're not getting out. You're not getting out. There's nowhere to go. You can't get out on the road. There's nothing you can be able to do about it. So you're going to have what you have. I've talked about that many times as well. But again, with that coordinated attack, it also helps the people that are running the show, if you will. And I'm not going to say the Biden administration or whoever, but the people in power then could enact realistically martial law because it would be complete and utter chaos. And they would have spots, where they'd be like, okay, well, we have power here. If you come here, you can be safe. And I guarantee you, folks, guarantee you, there will be a lot of people that will hear that bell ringing like a dinner bell and come running, you know. And again, that's a realistic expectation of how it could go down. And then they enact martial law, which suspends the Constitution, which also suspends any transfer of power, right? The people that are in charge stay in charge until martial law is lifted. So they could drag that out for who knows how long, and there's nothing anybody could do about it. So, with the suspension of the Constitution, what that means is if they send in anybody anywhere to collect weapons, to collect food, to collect any supplies that you may have, because you're a hoarder, type of situation, they could do that. They could also, again, they could arrest anybody they wanted to. If you decided, well, I'm going to go protest because this isn't right, they'll lock you up with no due process, and there's not squat you'd be able to do about it. Okay. So, again, there's a lot of things with this that people don't pay attention to that could happen. Now, I'm not saying this is the scenario that is going to happen, but I will tell you this right now, folks, and I've talked about this a million times. Our Achilles heel in the United States of America is our power grid. That's our Achilles heel. If they take out our power grid, we will eat each other. Nobody has to invade us. So that's a misconception that so many people have. Oh, well, if they could try to come here and invade us, we'll do this, we'll do that, blah, 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 which we would under normal circumstances. But if they cut our power off and they cut that power grid off, and now we're all on our own. And again, remember, 95% of the people in this country are not prepared for a 2 week disaster. They're not. They're just not. They don't have anything put away. They have nothing there. And they're going to be demanding that the government do something immediately. And the government's not going to be able to. The government is not going to be able to come in and save the day riding on the white horse. It's just not going to happen. You look at an isolated incident. My wake up call for me as a prepper was Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. That was my wake up call because I saw the government reaction to an isolated incident in an isolated part of the country that did not affect the rest of the country. So it wasn't like the whole country was dealing with it. They were dealing with it, right? And how long did it take them to get that squared away and to get that organized and squared away? So I want you to think about what that would look like on a large scale situation with a grid down situation. Texas power grid is different. We have East Coast, we have West Coast, and then we have Texas has their own power grid. But again, every one of those could be attacked. And with an organized attack, and again, when I'm telling you, these people are not stupid. They're not. I mean, some people have some delusion that think they're a bunch of ignorant people over there. They're not. Okay. And I was flooded in for nearly 3 weeks, and the only ones that came to help were local people. I believe it, Delbert. No, I absolutely believe that. And I think you're going to see that happen in a time of emergency. Local people will try to help each other, which they should, in my opinion, if they can, But again, you're looking at a situation where it's not going to be a quick fix. And when people are hungry and they're got nothing and they can't, and on top of not getting your meds, right, not being able to watch your TV, not having power to stay warm or stay cool, not being able to get out and go anywhere or any of those type of things. Now you think about all the people. I mean, you think of about like alcohol and drugs and all those type of things. Think about all those people that are on antipsychotic medication because without their medications, they will go off the rails. Those things are still going to happen. Drug addicts are going to be robbing houses looking for pills because they want their fix. I mean, it's a nightmare scenario, is what it is, to be honest with you. It's a very realistic situation that could happen. It's very realistic, and I don't want people to, that I'm trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to give you information, let you decide what you want to do with it, and how you want to prepare accordingly. That's the key. Proper preparation eliminates piss poor performance. If you're prepared enough, you're ready for whatever situation, you go, okay, here it is. This is what's going down. Again, it's about acting and reacting. Do you want to react like the most of the country is going to act like when something happens? Or do you want to act? Do you want to have your game plan in place? Do you want to go, okay, this is it. This is what we need to do. We need to get to where we need to go. If you're going to go anywhere, if you're bugging in, you need to button up your houses to make sure. And so with that, if you're planning on bugging in, and I know a lot of people plan on trying to bug in, and I wish you the best of luck with that, okay? Because what I think people don't realize, you have your house. Let's say you got your plan and you're going to board up windows and all this type of stuff, okay? And when they come and asking you and they know you got stuff and they see the smoke coming out of your chimney because you have your wood stove and they're cold and they're hungry, people are not going to be real forgiving, folks. They're going to demand that you let them in, that you help them. And if you don't do it, you might get burned out. They might just set your house on fire. They might not get nothing out of it, but they're going to stop you because it's not fair. Remember that. It's not fair. It's not fair that you sacrificed. It's not fair that you prepared, that you got ready, that they called you crazy because you got ready. And then when something happens, you're in a good situation, but they're not. And now they feel that they're entitled for you to help them. They're also entitled that there's no reason you shouldn't help. You have to help. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So again, I've said this before and I will say this again. In a true SHTF situation, the most dangerous person in that situation is somebody who is desperate and scared. A desperate and scared person will do whatever they have to do to put themselves in a situation where they're going to be better off. That's all they're going to do. So again, you have to, you know, hey, Bob, see new sub. Thank you for the great content. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you being here, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. But again, being as ready as we can be for whatever may happen starts with each and every one of you. Starts with each and every one of you preparing for yourselves and your families. Uh, again, if you've never prepped in your life, you've never done anything prepping related in any way, shape, or form, and all you did was get 2 weeks worth of food and 2 weeks worth of water stocked back in your home, you're ahead of 95% of the people. Why would you not do just that? If you wanted to just do the bare minimum, why would you not do just that? Because I'll tell you what, when that day comes and your kids come to you and they say, Daddy, I'm hungry, or Daddy, I don't have anything to drink. What are we going to do? Now, what are you going to do? I want you to think about that when you had an opportunity to do something about it. And so, but anyway, that's a fact. And I don't care how nice your neighbors are, and you get along with them and you wave at them and they think, hey, how are you today? Nice to see you. When they're desperate, they're not going to be so nice. They're going to be very demanding. They're going to be very demanding. And if you live in a city, heaven help you. That's all I got to say. Anybody that lives in a city, I wish you the best of luck because you truly are going to need it. Putting yourself in a situation, I got to remind you guys, okay, just so you know, like my journey. I've lived in the cities when I was younger. I've lived in suburbia. Okay, when I first started prepping, I was living in suburbia. And I remember thinking, this is not a good situation. The city was not that far away, and we lived on a street. Every house is side by side, and then you had to cross the street, more houses. Behind you was another street with houses on both sides. Our backyard was 200 feet deep, which was actually pretty good. For we had a 0.28 acre lot is what we had for our property. Okay, but I remember thinking, things go sideways. this is not going to be the place we want to be. And that's when I got my first property that we had bought and started doing, what we were doing. Uh, it's those places are not safe. The farther out away from civilization you are, the better off you'll be. And I want to remind people of a couple of things. I mean, everybody talks about, ooh, the golden horde will come out of the cities and they'll descend upon the countryside. No, they won't. No, they won't. And I'm going to tell you why they won't. Most people are going to stay where it's familiar, where they feel comfortable. Okay. If you live in the city, you're probably going to stay there. And by the time you realize, oh crap, this is not safe, this is not a good place to be, it's going to be too late to get out, number one. Okay. The gangs and the crime and all that type of stuff. So the cities, they'll feed on each other until they have used every single resource. Now, some people will get out, don't get me wrong. Some people will get out, but not a whole lot. There won't be any way to get out after a while. Within a short period of time, there'll be no way to get out unless you're on foot. And then that'll be another whole kettle of fish you got to deal with. But again, when you get into that situation, hey, RC Kev, my brother, we live in an illusion. Hopefully it lasts, but prepare for it not to last. I agree with that 100%. Thank you so much for the statement. And thank you very much for the donation as well. I really do appreciate that. So what do we got? 634 in the chat. We're at 299 on the thumbs up, guys. So I'm going to ask you again real quick. If you have not shot a thumbs up, where half of you that are watching right now have not, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, it really does make a huge, huge difference with the algorithm. So I do appreciate it for that reason as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I do appreciate that. But again, so talking about the Golden Horde leaving, they're not leaving. They're going to stay until they've used every last resource that they can. And then realistically, they're going to make forays out. They may go out 10, maybe 20 miles out, depending on what they have for transportation to be able to do that. And then they're going to scurry back to those cities because it's safe to them. It's familiar. It's what they know. Coming out into the country, folks, where there are no lights and it's dark and there's animals and there's people that know those areas. And after an SHTF event, realistically, what you're going to see small towns circle the fences. All right. You're going to see like where I'm at, I'm well out into the country. What you're going to see is neighbors working together in making sure that strangers aren't just rolling in through here. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And if they try to come in there, they're going to be, met with heavy resistance. And realistically, I'll tell you what, I don't care. People can have all the tough talk that they want to have. And I've heard it all through the years, oh, we're going to come and we're going to take your stuff and blah, blah, blah. I've heard it all. Okay. The reality is this. When you are ask any combat veteran, why do you think combat veterans don't like to talk about what happened, what they saw, what they had to do? Because it's not pleasant, folks. That's why they don't want to talk about it. Okay. And if you got somebody sitting in a bar bragging about, oh, I did this or I did that and I killed this and I killed that, that person's most likely a liar. Okay. That's true. Because generally true veterans that have seen combat, they don't like to talk about it. I have never in my entire nursing career, and I've dealt with a lot of veterans, and I've dealt with a lot of combat veterans, okay? I don't bring up anything. If they want to talk to me about something, I'm more than happy to talk to them about it, but I don't bring it up. So when you think of this glory and how it's going to be, when you have somebody shooting at you and you're shooting back at them, it's a whole different kettle of fish, folks. It's a whole different kettle of fish. And that's not a pleasant thing. And if you end up shooting a couple of them and killing a couple of them, those perpetrators, those people that have bad intentions, they're going to go and they're going to look for softer targets. Once they realize they're up against an organized group or somebody that actually knows what they're doing, they're going to go on to something easier because there's a lot of softer targets out there. So by the time they've hit all the soft targets, any organized group is going to have had time to dig in, to be ready, to be rested, to be squared away. Um, in the advantages of a group, and I've talked about that a million times, the advantages of a group are huge. If you have a group, it gives you so many advantages that it's unbelievable. The workload sharing, number one, is a big thing. Making sure people have proper rest. I'm going to give you a scenario. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you tell me who wins in this battle. You have two sides. You have this group up here that's up in the hills, and they're dug in, right? They're eating regular meals. They're getting regular proper rest. If somebody gets sick, they're able to go and get and have an appropriate amount of time to recover from that sickness and not infect everybody else. So they're isolated in a certain area so that they can get better. So you have all those type of things with that group. Now you have this other group over here. And let's say this other group has twice the numbers of this first group, right? Let's say this first group has 50 people, this other group has 100 people, but they're starving. You have sickness rampant through the group. Nobody's getting proper rest, so they're not sharp. They're not thinking clearly. They're desperate, right? Because they're running out of supplies. They've been in miserable weather, and they're not getting, they're not having proper shelter to be able to deal with that as well. Who wins in that battle? The people that can think clearly, that are rested, that have, that are squared away, that got full bellies, or the other ones? It's real simple, folks. It's simple math. The advantage of that is huge. And anytime you can do that, it puts you, yeah, they're slow on their feet. Right, exactly. When I talk about groups, that's what I'm talking about. Safety in numbers. I've said this before in other streams, and I'm going to say it again in this stream right here. Three things are going to happen after an SHTF event. Okay, three things. Either you're going to be part of a group, and my thing has always been I would rather. No, two. I'm sorry, two things are going to happen. Two things. You will be part of a group. Okay. And my thing was always, I would rather make sure of the people that I want to be around at that time period now. So if I get my group now, like I have my group, we know each other, we're comfortable with each other, we know our strength, we know our weaknesses, and all that type of stuff. So we are ready in that aspect. If you are not part of a group right now, you will be part of a group. Now you need to decide what kind of group you want to be with. It may not be the kind of group that you want to be with, but you'll do it to survive. And if you are not part of a group, then you are going to be dead. Period. End of story. There's no way long term you're making it on your own. Guaranteed. No way. Because if you get sick or if you get hurt, if dad dies, who picks up the slack, right? For the rest of the family. Who does? There's nobody there to pick up that slack. So that, again, that safety in numbers is really, really important. So yeah, even if you live alone, you can't. Here's the thing again. Okay, you're the lone wolf prepper. Oh, I'm going to be fine. I'll make it on my own, and I'm isolated and all this and that, and that's great. You can't stay up 24 hours a day. You have to get sleep. Okay. You can't do everything that you need to do to be able to protect yourself. All right. You can't. There's just no way to do it. And again, if you get sick or if you get hurt, that could mean death because there's nobody there to help you. So just some things to think about. And I like to try to put that out. I try to be honest to a fault, folks. I look at the big picture of things and I realize is this. Again, I'm a big believer in I prepare for the worst and I hope for the best. I don't have a whole lot of faith in mankind because I see how evil mankind can be to each other. I really do. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. And, so again, you got to think about those things now, and prepare accordingly. If you were prepared, whatever, realistically, I mean, here's the reality. If you get through the first year of a true SHTF event, and I'm talking end of the world as we know it, they've run the numbers, folks. They said that 90% of the population will be dead within inside of 1 year. 90%. And I want you to think about that. Think about all the people that you know, right? Think of all the people that you know. And let's say you know 50 people, right? You know 50 people. Five of them are going to make it. Five out of 50. That'll be it. And it doesn't always come down to the biggest, the strongest, and the toughest, right? You got to have this. You got to have this. That person that thinks on their feet, that can adjust on the fly, adapt and overcome. All those things are going to be key elements. What you know, giving yourself every advantage ahead of time gives you a better chance to be able to survive. It gives you a better chance. But again, the more isolated you are, better chance of survival, right? Having a large amount of supplies, better chance of survival. Having a group really makes it a better chance of survival. The only bad part about a group, now you have XYZ number of people that need to eat every day. So that's all part of it as well. All right, what do we got? 669 in the chat, guys. We got 385 on the thumbs up. So again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to do so to show support for the channel. And again, I thank you ahead of time for that. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms. The algorithms pushes us out there in YouTube more. So the more people that are watching, the better it is for the channel. And again, I thank you for that. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon for all notifications as well. So yes, I know it was egg count time, JJ, but I wanted to say that first. So it is egg count time. How many eggs today? And yes or no, did the white hen lay? So I'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses up there, and we will go from there. So give you guys a moment. But I know I like our weather here. I was watching Ryan Hall earlier, and looks like Monday and Tuesday could be kind of dicey up here. Not as bad as further west, but don't look like it's going to be wonderful weather here at the Homestead the next couple of days. So we'll see. We'll see how that all pans out. But yeah, fortune favors the bold, but survival favors the prepared. That is for sure. That is absolutely for sure. All right, guys. If you the right answer was in the first two guesses, just so you know. If you had the same guess as Joan T had the first guess, and that guess was five eggs today, and no for the white hen. No, she did not lay today. She did not lay today. So we had five eggs today. All the other girls laid. And I even went back later to check one more time to see if she was gonna. I think well, I didn't say. I think I did, might have mentioned it in the video, but yesterday the white hen laid late, so she did. I got, like I said yesterday, I got six eggs yesterday. Right? Was it six? Yeah, yesterday I had six eggs yesterday, but she laid late yesterday. So John says I want to recount, but hey, I'll tell you what. As long as if they're giving me five eggs a day out of six hens, I'm really happy about that. Yeah, troll is gone. I didn't even see what he said, JJ, but thank you for taking care of that. But yeah, it's just no, it's the chickens are fun. I really enjoy the chickens. But can your hen survive on grass and bugs? That is a great question, Michelle. I appreciate you asking that. You would have to, in a true SHTF situation, you'd have to let them free range to a point. You'd have to be really careful of that because, again, you're going to get predators are going to come in, and and it would be predators on two legs as well as four. So you would have to be really careful with that. Having a stock up of stuff would be great. But like one of the things I've talked about stocking up on before is wheat berries. Wheat berries will last 30 years. The cool thing about wheat berries is you can turn them into flour, or you can plant them to make more wheat. So we would definitely, if it was a true SHTF situation, we would be doing that to make sure, So the other thing that we would do is I have a couple of incubators down here as well. A true SHTF situation happened. The first thing that I would do down here, the next 2 dozen eggs that I got would go into incubators to give us more chickens. So, that's, you're going to have to do what you have to do. You're going to try to make sure that those birds will survive. Chickens will eat anything, folks, just so you know. Chickens will eat anything, including each other. So, you could definitely give them a lot of scraps. They'll eat all that, and those type of stuff. So, like I made myself a Waldorf salad today. I love apples. So the apple peels, the celery, all that type of stuff that I didn't use, that all goes out to the chickens, and they devour that in a second. So I try to give them any kind of scraps that I'm not using when I'm doing that. So that's just part of the game plan. But yeah, chicken tractors would work. Yes, yep, they would work. That would be something that you could move it around to a new spot, and then at night bring them up to a secure area if you had to. That would absolutely be a way to do it as well. But again, in the wintertime, you're not going to be able to do a lot of that type of thing. So again, putting yourself in a position where you're prepared to deal with whatever situation is coming is going to be the key. Being as ready as you can be is going to be the key. Do I feel like So here, let's go back to the being prepared for ISIS, right? If it will they be coming here? I believe they're already here. Okay, and they're just waiting for the right opportunity of when they're going to get their orders to go, and I believe it will happen. I honestly, truly believe it'll be attack on the grid because that's the most effective way to hurt America. That's just my opinion as far as that goes. I honestly believe that would be the most plausible way for that to happen. What do we got? We got 421. Let's set a goal for 500 thumbs up because we haven't. I don't think we've hit 500 in a while. So let's see if we can hit 500 thumbs up before we jump off of here, guys. Got like a half an hour. I think that's we could do that. So just for fun, because why not? Setting a goal is always kind of fun, and if we get there, great. If we don't, well, then we don't. But anyway, you know, uh, having enough for your livestock. How did they do it back in the olden days, right? You didn't. There was no feed store to go to, so they did what they needed to do to make sure their chickens survived, and that it's that relationship with your chickens. They're giving you eggs on a regular basis. There's also the meat of the chickens. So, making sure, like I said, with incubating eggs, that's going to be hugely important. And so you're going to want to do, you're going to want to do the best you can. You're going to want to immediately increase your flock if you can. Okay. They grew a lot of corn. Yeah, they did. Yep. Absolutely. Juby Joe says, Ed, seriously, we have to be careful every day. And that's a true statement. You're 100% right on that. We absolutely have to be careful every single day. We absolutely do. The craziness of the world out there, you folks, I'll tell you, you should be keeping your head on a swivel at all times now. I'll tell you one of the things that I do. When I am out in public, if I stop in some place to get something to eat, I sit in a spot where I can watch the door. I know where my exits are. I try to keep my back up against a wall someplace if I can. I'll always sit in that spot where I can see what's going on around me. Situational awareness is important. If you're on your phone all the time like this, you're not paying attention to what's going on around you. That can be very, very dangerous. Grow squash and pumpkins for your livestock, including greens. Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that you can utilize for your animals. It's going to help them and you. So yeah, that's absolutely important. One of the things we've talked about here, other people have chickens as well, and if things go sideways, they're going to come here. We're not putting all our chickens together in one spot because if there was sickness or disease in that one spot for the one chickens, then everybody gets it. So what we would end up doing is we would have 3 or 4 different spots where this, spot up here, they had a couple of chickens up there. And when I say a couple, maybe 6 or a dozen. We have a dozen here, there's a dozen someplace else, and all those type of things. When you're thinking about, like right now, I have an abundance of eggs. I do. I'm not eating 5 and 6 eggs a day. I'm just not doing it. Okay. But in a true SHTF situation, and you got everybody down here, if you got 30 chickens, you could very easily eat 30 eggs a day, easily, you know. And again, you would have to try to figure out like some kind of a rotation of who's eating what on what day. That would be a treat because not everybody, if you got 50 people, everybody's not eating an egg a day. You're not going to eat an egg a day, So, maybe what you do is you go, okay, day one, 25 people eat 2 eggs. Day two, 25 more people eat 2 eggs, or whatever you want to do, as far as that goes. But you would go through them. It wouldn't be like you're running out of eggs in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, don't put all your chickens in one basket. Exactly, Ann. Exactly. But again, those are situations that you need to think about. Try to plan for the best that you can. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I guarantee you this is going to happen. Even for somebody like me, I've been preparing, guys, forever and a day. I have been preparing forever. Um, and I know when SHTF comes, there will be something that I forgot. And I'm going to go, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that. You can't think of everything. You really can't. You just do the best that you possibly can, and you just go from there. You just go from there. You just try to do the best you can, be as ready as you can be. Again, you know, learning how to garden now is one of the key factors, and I've talked about this over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Do you have multivitamins? Yep. Yes, I do. No, that's one of the things that because you're going to need to have all that as much as you possibly can, uh, you know, for that type of thing. I stock up on over the counter meds and stuff too, folks, because again, I'll tell you. See, so for me personally, realistically, the only thing I take is Advil. Realistically, other than multivitamins. So if I got a headache or if I'm a little sore, I'll take a couple of Advil. So I'm definitely stocked up on Advil. I got a Norwegian recipe that I could send you that requires 3+ eggs. Yeah, that'd be cool. Absolutely. No pride like that. Thank you. But how would we know it was ISIS when they're here, and or would it not matter? If there was an attack on the grid, honestly. So let's talk about that for a second. That's actually a great question. Who did it? The who did it question. There's an attack on the grid. Was it within our own government that did it? Is that possibility there? There's always that possibility, folks. To cause the most amount of chaos that they possibly could in order to regain control. Again, you got to understand this. The end of the day, the key thing for these governments, not just the United States, for any government out there, is to control the people. If they can control us and keep us under their thumb, then they benefit from us. That's a reality. They'll benefit from us. So it could be anybody that did it. But at that point, would it matter who did it? They could come on the errors and say, we were attacked by so and this is a result of this. How would we know? We wouldn't know, you know. So again, you prepare for whatever may happen. You try to be ready as you possibly can be, and when something happens, that's when we react to it. That's the only amount of control that we can possibly have. That's the only amount of control we can have. Being ready, taking care of our business, taking care of our families. Like I said again, going back to Hurricane Katrina, and I watched that whole thing unfold. And at the time, the twins were 4 years old. Josh was 10. I had a stay-at-home wife, and I remember thinking, and really, like I said, when I tell you it was my eye opener, it was my eye opener. I was like, man, we can't count on the government at all. We need to take care of ourselves. And that really catapulted me and got me started with prepping, and got me reading. I'm going to tell you, I think it's one of the first books I read. Hold on, I'll show you. Let me see when the copyright of this is first before I tell you. Let's see when the first time he did this, because it should say in here. But this book here was absolutely one of the first books that I read. let's see. No, this must not have been one of. Okay, it wasn't one of the first books that I read, because this one came out in 2009. Okay, so that the first printing was in October of 2009, but this book here is chock full of information that is absolutely awesome. Okay, James Wesley Rawls, uh, How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It. All right, guys, again, I've talked about, and I get nothing for giving this guy a shout out. I don't want you to think that I have any kind of deal with him or I'm trying to get anything out of it. I'm not. I'm just trying to give you guys information that's going to work for you. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Remember that, because that's a key thing. If you have the knowledge and you know what to do and how to do it, it's really, really important. Books like this, again, I'm going to show you this really quickly. Okay. Books like this can help you prepare for what, thank you, help you prepare for what you have to do. Okay. So, again, a lot of good information in that book. Again, you should have a lot of different books on a lot of different topics. I think that that's really important. Okay. Because if you have that, you know, do you appear on redacted? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. Um, but but it's a good book to have. Any books that you can get on prepping, survival, off-grid living, farming, how do the old folks do it, all those type of stuff. Name again, I'll show you one more time here, guys. James Wesley Rawls, okay? And the book is How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It, okay? So there you go. Great book to have. I got another. I got like well, I got a bunch here. I got a bunch of books everywhere. There's a lot of books out there that are really chock full of good information, and it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. You can tweak it to whatever section you're at. Okay, I know we're past. I got to do shout outs. I get rolling. You know how I get, JJ. JJ has to keep me on track. So again, what are we at? 530 in the chat. We're at 479. So 21 away from the goal of 500. So I know you guys can bang that out. So let's keep those thumbs up coming. Do appreciate that again. It really does make a huge difference again with the algorithms. The more interaction pushes us higher up in the rankings with YouTube, and I do appreciate that as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's do some shout outs. We have Heavenly Hills Homestead, Ryan, growing giant vegetables. Real good channel, a lot of good information on his channel, especially when it comes to growing. That's what you want. You want people that'll show you how to grow properly so that you can do really well with that. There is Icky Can up in Canada, also living off grid. Good guy. Definitely worth to listen to. You have Angry Prepper down in New York City. That is Jason. Jason's a squared away individual. Excuse me. A lot of respect for him. There's Alaska Prepper. That is Rudy doing his thing up in Alaska. Real good guy. Definitely should check him out as well. There's also Alaska Granny. You have Sean James with the Sean James channel and myself, Reliance. Two different channels. Same guy. Really good information. Living up in Canada. Living off grid. Master builder. A lot of fun to watch him. A lot of fun. There is Demcad. Demcad's another good guy. I think he's in Kentucky now, if I'm not mistaken. There's Corporal's Corner, Bjorn Hansen. You have 80K Man up in the Adirondacks. There's Bizariza Jizza, who does the Carrington Chronicles, a very interesting story, definitely worth to listen to. Marfugal News, Adam and Dax out on the West Coast in Seattle doing their thing out there. Good guys, definitely worth to listen to as well. You have Magic Prepper in North Dakota. There's Wrangle Star. That is Cody, a good guy, chock full of good information on his channel as well. There's Red Poppy Ranch. You have Survival Lily coming at us out of Europe to let us know what's going on over there with everything that's happening in Europe. You have Kyle's Cabin. Kyle and Sierra, nice young couple up in Minnesota, living off grid, following their dream up there. Nice kids. There is Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods. Husband-wife team. They've been around for a long time. They split their time between Michigan and Alaska. Really good couple. A lot of good info on their channel as well. Let's see. We have Green Greg's, another good guy, very down to earth. A lot of good info on his channel. Southern Prepper One with his Boots on the Ground series, very interesting to listen to what's going on around the country, and how that can affect you. There is Gray Man Prepping. We have Doug and Stacy. Doug and Stacy have been around for a long time. Good channel there as well. A lot of good information there. There's the Green Dream Project out in Arizona. Really nice couple out there showing you what it's like to live in the desert. The Nomadic Movement down in Panama. Another young couple down there living their dream, living off grid down in Panama. There's Camping with Steve. Steve Wallace doing stealth camping. Very interesting to watch what he's doing and everything that way as well. There's Bush Doctor Survival. You have Monkey Works. Hold on a second, folks. I gotta wet the whistle. You have the Needy Homesteader. She's been around for a long time. A lot of good information on her channel as well. Definitely worth to listen to. She's been through a lot. That woman has been through a lot. You have Boss of the Swamp, another master builder. Very interesting to see what he does. And there is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch project. Anything you want to know about the Grand Solar Minimum, Diamond is the guy. Great channel, very, very intelligent individual, and shares a lot of info there. There is Patera with the Appalachian Homestead. Straight shooter, appreciate her. She says it like it is, and I like that a lot about her. There is City Prepper. You have Lumina Acres. There is Suspicious Observer, giving you all the info of what's going on with the solar flares and the sun and everything like that. Definitely interesting to watch that. There is Bear Independent, the Uneducated Economist. There is Bushcraft Bear down in the Canary Islands of La Palma. When the volcano was going off, he used to do videos twice a day about that. It was really, really cool. Mary Greeley News. Mary Greeley gives you all the information of what's going on with Yellowstone and the earthquakes and everything like that. Really interesting to see what's going on there. And she talks about the reporting, how the reporting agencies are not always giving us all the information. I think that's kind of neat. There is Adapt 2030. You have Malachi's Corner. Truth Be Told with Tara. If you're going to get your weather, and I mentioned him earlier in the stream, if you're going to get your weather, there's only one guy you should be getting your weather from, and that is Ryan Hall Y'all. Ryan Hall is very passionate about the weather, but he also gives back to the community in a huge way, and I have so much respect for him. If there's a disaster, he's a big part of trying to help make things right, which, he's in a position to be able to do that, which is awesome. You have Russell Brand. I like Russell Brand as well. Another straight shooter, gives you the information, lets you decide what you want to do with it. He's not telling you what to think, and I like that. Deep South Homestead, a very family-friendly oriented channel. A lot of respect for them, good people as well. You have The Outsider. He is up in Maine. Betting on Alaska, a young man who is the son of Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods. Following his journey, starting to live off grid up in Alaska. Nice young man. You have the Fit Farmer. There is Prep Rebel. There is Simple Life Reclaimed. And then you have Townsend's. Townsend's is showing you what it's like to live in the 1800s, and gives you all the information about that. I think that's really interesting stuff to watch. You have the Prepared Mind. There's Pinball Preparedness down in Tennessee. You have East Tennessee Preparedness, the Economic Ninja, and last but not least, Little House Off Griddy. A lot of good channels out there, folks. A lot of good information. I do believe we should be supporting each other, and I think that that's a good thing. I know a lot of you have put other ones that you like in the chat, which is perfectly fine. I can't give a shout out to everybody. Okay, I can't. I would if I could, but it would be a stream of shout outs then, and that would be it. But there is a lot of good information out there. Again, I do believe that we should be supporting each other. That's why I do the shout outs. Maybe there's channels that you hadn't heard of yet that maybe go, hey, well, I'll check that out, and you can go from there. So could you copy the list and post it for? It's in every live stream. Every live stream I do it. If you want to write them down, that's perfectly fine. But every single live stream, I do my shout out list. So and it doesn't variate. So, but I know I see we hit past 500 thumbs up, so that's awesome. Remember, Russell Brand is part of Hollywood. I get that, and I know he was a comedian and he was all part of that whole deal. But I know he got cleaned up and he got off of drugs, which is I think is an awesome thing because that's not an easy thing to do. And but like I said, a lot of the information that he gives, I think, is good information. So, I mean, like I said, if you don't like him, don't watch him. You know, don't troll on him, but just don't watch him. But I just, to me, I like the information that he's putting out there because he questions the narrative. He questions what people say. He doesn't just go along and hey, this is what they say and it's the truth and that's it. You know, he's a person that is trying to think for himself. And I, like I said, anybody that does that, I'm, you know, I'm trying to support them. So, and, but anyway, so yeah, so that's, you know, they just keep plugging away. Again, guys, whenever we have these talks, and I always, at the end, a lot of times at the end of it, I always kind of mention the same things. I believe it's really important that you not be a victim. So, you know, don't be a victim. Be prepared, be as ready as you can be. When that time comes, you know, you'll thank me then. You'll be like, man, I'm glad I listened to Prepper Nurse One. And I'll tell you, through the years, and just natural disasters that happen, because those are going to continue to happen too. And that's the thing I think people don't think about as well. Those natural disasters are going to happen. Roads are going to be washed out. Mudslides are going to happen. Tornadoes are going to come through depending on what part of the country you're in. Flooding is going to happen depending on where you live and how close to the rivers you are. Ice storms are going to happen. You know, blizzards, and you're going to be snowed in and you're not going to be able to get out. When a true SHTF situation happens, those things are catastrophic and they can change everything. So the more prepared we are for those type of situations as well, it puts us in a better spot in the long run. So I'm always going to continue to encourage you to prep, continue to get ready. It's just like insurance. Why would you know you take out insurance? Well, a lot of times because you have to, you don't have a choice. But people take out life insurance. That's not to help you. You take out life insurance to help the people that you love and that you care about, right? That's why you take out life insurance. Because if you die, the life insurance isn't doing you any good at all. It's not. But it's going to be there for those that you leave behind so that they can do something. And I think that that's important. And so prepping is the same type of situation, except that you hope to be alive when you use it. That's the only difference. So agree with you and thank you for your voice. Thank you, fellow nurse. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So anyway, let's do this. What we are legion because we are many, and we are the good legion, not the bad biblical legion. I get so sick and tired when people say that. Where is everybody from tonight? We're a good legion, like a Roman legion or the American legion type of stuff. Where is everybody from tonight? We got Philip coming at us all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you, Philip, for being here. Appreciate it. We got Janet up in BC, Canada. Salt Lake City, Utah with Stevo. Inverness, Florida with Clyde in the house. Ozark, Arkansas with Randall. UP of Michigan with Dawn. East Central Illinois with Ranger. Ontario, Canada with Dave. Fort Worth, Texas with Sonia. Critter Lover in Virginia. Morning Light in West Virginia. Leesburg, Florida with Joan. Sandusky Bay, Ohio with T. Wisconsin with Jessica. Franklin County, Ohio with Campton Moon. Pappy in West Virginia. Birdsboro, Pennsylvania with Melissa. We have middle of Michigan with Whispering Pines. Janet coming at us from Central Virginia. Northwest Alabama with Danny. The UK coming over across the pond. Thank you for being here and staying up late. Appreciate it. Denzel, South Carolina with Bernie. Greeley County, Arizona with Codster. We got Sharon coming at us from Waterloo, New York. Beads and Beans coming at us from Dallas, Texas. Brookville, Indiana with Nettie. Snohomish, Washington with Wichita. Let's see, West Central Ohio with Dale. Missouri with I'm Crazy. DeHoller coming at us from Belgium. Thank you again. Appreciate you staying up late with us. South Dakota Mountains, very nice. From Ireland with the Dream Tracer. Thank you for being here as well. Friendswood, Texas with Kevin. But we'll be sending a couple of recipes after the stream ends. Thank you, very appreciate that. Charlotte County, Florida with Gloria. The mountains of Tennessee with Mountain Man Rick. So again, folks, we truly are all over the country. We're all over the world. We got Village Homestead coming at us from Central New York. But yeah, we're all over the place. Uh, where am I at? I am in West Virginia. That is where I am at. We got Ginger coming at us from Nebraska by way of New York. New York originally, and I've moved down to West Virginia. Love it down here. Dust Devil coming at us from Texas. Big Warthog saying he's from Russia. That's cool. If that's the case, if that's real, more than welcome to be here. We got Gene coming at us from Georgia. But again, like I said, we're all over. We're all people of the same mindset. There's so many of us out there. If we ever come together and organize, boy, that would be a frightening stuff for the government, wouldn't it now? A bunch of people that are prepped and organized and ready to go. They would be terrified, you know. But just do the best that you can. Keep prepping the best way that you can. And it's going to make a big, big difference. It really will. Shenandoah Valley, Virginia with Couch Cat. So, but again, guys, I want to thank my moderators who do an absolutely fantastic job keeping the chat clean. Very much appreciate what you guys do, ladies and gentlemen, that moderate for me. Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania with Sasha. It's awesome, and I really appreciate that. So, lived in Friendswood and worked around Nassau. Oh, that's cool. Again, I think without you guys here, I would not be here. So I really appreciate the support. I think we're seeing more and more people waking up to what's going on, and I think that that is a good thing. Again, we got to stop letting them play games with us. You know what I mean? If we can come together, we can square things away, take care of our families, and be as ready as we can be when that other shoe does drop. And believe me, it's coming. I don't make predictions of actually when. I just, I give scenarios of what would be if it was me making the plans to do something bad. How would I do it? And that's what I try to think about. You know what I mean? That's what I try to think about. So I accidentally watched it work. Don't tell the warden. All right, cool, Mr. Rose. Glad to have you here. That's funny. But it's a matter of time, folks, in my opinion. It really is. And, we just got to take care of what we can take care of, control what we can control, and that's all we can do. So we're 546, four more. Let's hit 550. Four more thumbs up, guys. Come on. I know you guys can do that. Um, Remember, guys, we truly are all in this together. We are one race called the human race. As soon as we can figure that one out and come together as human beings, we're going to be in much, much better shape. We have to stop letting them divide us. They use race, they use religion, they use political affiliation. All these things are nonsense. They don't mean anything. They really don't. If we can come together as human beings, we can accomplish anything that we want to, uh, and it would be good. We can accomplish good things to make things better for people in life instead of trying to kill each other all the time in wars and all that other nonsense. Also, remember, guys, to hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important that we tell the people we care about every single day how we feel. Last but not least, STD, best acronym in the world, right? Step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you were trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one stopping you from reaching your goals is you. That's it. Nobody else. If you stay positive and stay away from the negativity, you're going to be just fine. Stay away from negative people that tell you what you can't accomplish. If you set if you set realistic goals and then set about to making them happen, you can accomplish anything that you want to. Again, stay positive, stay away from those people that always tell you what you can't do. My favorite thing all time, guys, and anybody that watches this channel knows, my favorite thing to say when people tell me, oh, you can't do that or you can't get this done, my reply is always the same: watch me. And guess what? It gets done because I got no quit in me. It's going to get done. It's going to get done. And, and I got to tell you what, And I will give a lot of the credit too. Since I have moved down here to West Virginia, I have an awesome group of people that I'm working with down here that we have come together. We are really cranking on this property and turning it into a very, very doable situation when the time comes that we all have to come together and bug out together and survive. We're going to be able to do so. And that's awesome as well. That's peace of mind, is what that is. So, anyway, guys, be safe, keep prepping. I will catch you all in the next one. Oh, real quickly, just to remind anybody that doesn't know, private live stream tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for hardcore members. If you would like to join us in that chat, you go to my main page on YouTube. You'll see the join button. You click on that. You become a hardcore member. I do a private live stream every Monday night just for hardcore members. Um, you can ask me anything. It's very, very personal. It's a small group of people, and we have a really good time there. So, and they get inside information, that other people don't get in the main chat. So that's always fun too. So anyway, guys, be safe, and I will see you on the next one. Prepper Nurse One out for now.